Today in our yoga session, I am going to be looking at showing you some basic functional movements that you can slide into your day. And these could be things that you do alongside your gym workout, could be things that you do alongside your regular yoga practice, or it could be things that just support your movement practices that are hiking or swimming or walking, or your just daily life of sitting. So we're going to look at things that are going to increase range of motion, that are going to increase functionality, flexibility, and also the lengthening of the muscles as well. So these are movements that we really need to slot into our day, but we don't tend to do in our daily life. All you need to have with you is a yoga brick, and if you don't have a yoga brick, you could use a cushion, or you could have a small cookbook or a hardback book like a journal. So starting off, we're going to come to our first movement, and our first movement number one is cat and cow. We're going to come to all fours, wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips, tops of the feet on the floor. Look down at your hands, spread the fingers. We want the wrists about as wide as your shoulders, and if your shoulders are very tight, you can take them slightly wider and turn the fingers out. From here, pressing down into the hands and the feet, we're going to arch the spine, draw the chest forwards and the shoulders back and look forwards. And as we exhale, press into the hands and feet around the spine, broadening the space between the shoulders. So we inhale, arching, and exhale, rounding. Now let's do about 10. Inhale, arching, and rounding. And so what we want to be doing as we're doing this movement is trying to get as much range of motion in our spine as we can. We're thinking about those little intervertebral discs, the padding between the vertebrae. And we're just thinking about how can we get them moving. We often say a healthy spine, a healthy, strong and supple spine is one of the foundations of our health, and I really believe that to be true. So, coming to our last movement here. And then walk your hands back and come to kneeling. Okay, so the next movement we're going to grab our brick and we're going to come up to standing here. You're going to take your brick just between your knees and just above your knees into the soft part of your inner thighs here. We're going to walk our feet as close together as we can. And then we're going to bend our knees, bring our weight back into our heels and send our bum back. We're going to bring our hands forwards alongside the shoulders and we're going to squeeze the brick really strongly between our thighs. As we press into the feet, we're going to squeeze and reach up. And as we press into the feet, we're going to squeeze, bend the knees and send the bottom back. So we're inhaling up, exhaling down. All the time squeezing so that we activate the inner leg muscles, and these are the ones that tend to get very lazy, especially if we do a lot of macro movements in the gym, like a lot of squats and leg presses and bench work. We really want to activate the inner leg muscles as well so that the tailbone is able to lengthen down and the low back stays nice and long. So when you're coming up, tailbone tucks under and forwards. When you're coming down, tailbone sticks out the back. Keep squeezing. So these aren't meant to be the most dynamic, the most explosive, the biggest movements. They're just meant to be movements that we repeat and they help our bodies to function better. Last one. So 10 again of these. And then we come up and we'll just give our arms a little swing, loosen them out forwards and backwards. Okay, we can take our brick down for a second. And from here, we're just going to do heel raises. If you know that your balance is really off at the moment, or if you have any eyesight issues or vertigo, you will bring your hands onto a table or a chair or some kind of steady surface to hold onto here. And all we're going to do is rise up onto the tips of our toes and lower back down onto our heels. And we're going to do this smoothly and steadily. You can keep your gaze down to help with your balance. And what we want is that kind of piston action. As we go up, slowly we come back down again. It's not jerky, it's not jolty, we're not dropping back down onto our heels, we're moving really smoothly. And when we come up onto the top of the movement, we want our ankle to be sitting centralized over our toes. If you want to add challenge, you can bring your hands up and down. You can also try looking up and down, but that makes the balance a lot more tricky. So just go to the level that's right for you. It's much better to get it smooth and steady than to be raising the arms. One more. This is really good for your Achilles and your calves and your ankle strength. Okay, shaking loose again. So now we're going to take the brick or the book, and we're going to place it down on the ground, and we're going to stand on it with our right foot, spreading the toes, distributing the weight equally. Then bring our hands to our hips, draw the tailbone under and forwards so that you can feel your core muscles switch on. And we're going to swing that leg. Now my knee isn't bending and I'm pointing my toe. I'm just trying to get a range of motion here. So I'm just trying to let that leg swing nice and free. In the beginning, you'll find they'll be gripping and holding in the muscles. But as you stand here and as you keep the tailbone drawing down and the belly switched on, so you've got those stabilizer muscles working, that leg will start to swing like a pendulum. Once it's doing that, you can bring your arms in too. So this is how the body would be moving if we were walking for long periods in the day. And it's really, really useful movement pattern to get into for us. Lengthens the psoas muscle on the front of the body, helping us to have softness in the low belly for digestion, helping there to be less pull on the diaphragm so we can breathe better, helping the hip flexors, which get very tight and short when we sit, just lengthen out. But it's also working into the lymphatics in the armpits and the groin and pumping into the lungs, keeping everything working. So all nice and loose. Okay, I'm going to switch sides. Just steady the foot first. It's really important to use our feet correctly. They're the foundations of our posture. So big toe, little toe, heel. Tailbone tucks under, belly switches on. Start by pointing the toes, straightening the knee, just going where you can before your knee bends. And you'll find maybe one side is tighter. For me today, you can feel that right side is a lot tighter than the left. And so you just have to be patient with releasing there, just letting the body get used to and trusting that you're supporting through the core here. And maybe you're holding on to something to get that support, but you're allowing it to just be free. And then it might start getting a little bit bigger and you might bring the arms into it too. All the time, tailbone drawing under and forwards, and the weight is equally on the little toe and the big toe. So just swinging out there and allowing that to be really loose. Okay, and then coming back and releasing. And just take some little circles here. These through the hips and the shoulders. Okay, so we're going to do some little hip dips, hip pulses. Keep feet hip width distance apart, hands on the hips. So we're just going to swing our hips to the right and we're going to pulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to take horse stance or squat. So we're going to take our legs wide, about as wide as our elbows or maybe just slightly further past that. Toes face forwards, and then we turn the heels in and the toes out. We're just going to have our brick nearby. We're going to bend our knees in the direction of the second and third toes, and we're going to have our spine nice and straight. So this isn't your widest squat. It's not a bum sticking out the back squat like this. It's spine tall, like you're sitting down into a chair. Press down into the feet. And we're going to inhale up to straight legs and exhale back down to bend. Now we're watching our form. So we inhale up, get that lovely stretch. As we exhale, the knees trap towards the second and third toe. So they're pointing to the second and third toe. They're not going inwards. And up, and down, and up, and down. Breathing in, inhale. Breathing out, exhale. Two more. Last one. And coming back up and just roll out those shoulders again. Let them get really nice and loose. Shake off the wrists, elbows, and the shoulders. Okay, so we're going to come back into our squat. Right down, nice tall spine. So our squat is one of the most functional movement positions that we can do. It's really going to help with the pelvis, it's going to help with our elimination processes, it's really going to help to align the spine really nicely. And from here we're going to bring our hands to prayer and we're going to do some heel lifts. So one heel up, then the other one up. And just keep moving through that. Heels lifting, heels dropping. So again, 10 on each side. Keep your spine nice and tall. Nearly there, well done. And then release, straighten the legs, swing those arms again, just let everything settle. Allow the breathing to come back to normal. And that can be quite challenging if you're not used to working on your ankle strength or stretching out the lower parts of your legs. And then we're going to come back down again, bring the hands together, and we're going to do little tucks of our pelvis. So what I'm doing here is I'm bringing my pubic bone towards my face and then away again. So little pelvic tilts here, just tilting into the pelvis. And within that squat position, we're just trying to get mobility within the pelvis itself. And for some people, it's going to be really restricted, and so for some people, it's going to be really free. So just moving there, as much movement as you can. Try and get 10 of those little tilts. And then you're going to come back to the center, press up through the heels, scissor those feet in together, and just loosen everything out. Shake into the wrists, into the knees, into the hips, into the shoulders, everything just shaking off. And really this shaking is very, very important for the ligaments around the joints. So just preventing any gripping, letting it all go. So the next one that we're going to do is one that's really good for bringing energy back into the body if you feel like your energy is flagging. It's also really good for the circulation, and it's really good for the spine. So we're just going to stand with our feet slightly wider than hip width, toes pointing forwards. We're going to soften our knees. We're going to inhale, bring the hands up. And as we exhale, we're going to bend our knees and flop forward so that our body dangles between our knees. And we're going to swing 1, 2, 3 times, and then press out of the feet and come back up. And then exhale down, 1, 2, 3, and come back up. And exhale down, 1, 2, 3, and come back up. And you just go to as far down as feels comfortable for you. So that might look like just coming to halfway. It might look like coming all the way down. Your knuckles might be grounding on the floor. But you're really trying to let go. So as you breathe out, you can breathe out through the mouth. So it's a real release, like a If you're someone who suffers from high blood pressure, low blood pressure, or has any of those kinds of vertigo, or it's easy to get dizzy, you just want to be really slow with this one. Or if it makes you feel really dizzy, you might want to sit this one out. And coming up and release, and always take some time looking down at the ground to let the blood pressure settle, let everything just arrive back into that more central place. Sway the hips from side to side, and just shake into the hands and the wrists there. Okay, so our last functional movement is that we're going to come down into a bridge position, and we're going to take that brick between our legs again, just above the knees, into that soft part of the inner thigh. We're going to lay ourselves down onto our backs. And with bridge, if you reach with your fingers and you can't touch your heel or nearly touch your heel, that means the heel is too far away. So you want to bring it back in. Our feet want to be like a number 11, straight forwards. And we want to squeeze in on that brick. Hands down at the sides, palms down. Roll the shoulders under, chin down. Now what we're going to do is start by squeezing on the brick. So activate the inner thigh muscles. Draw the pubic bone towards the face so you flatten the low back into the ground. And then push into the feet and roll the spine up vertebrae by vertebrae till you get to the top. So you've got a diagonal line between your knees and your shoulders. Then we're going to roll down, upper back, middle back, lower back, and then untucking the pelvis. So we squeeze the brick, pubic bone towards the face, flatten off the low back. Make sure you haven't put your chin up into the air, so keep the back of your neck nice and long. And then press into the heels, lower back, middle back, upper back, and release the shoulders. And then coming back down, upper back, middle back, lower back, on top of the pelvis. So pubic bone towards the face, press into the heels, press into the hands, peeling up, get to the top, peeling back down again. And just like when we were doing the heel raises, we want this to be a nice smooth transition. Keep it going towards the face, curling back up, each one of the vertebrae working sequentially like in cat-cow, coming back down and untucking. And just remember to keep that awareness on the inner thighs. We really need to squeeze those inner thighs, keeping them activated for this movement. Now don't worry if you've been doing bridge pose and you've been doing it in different ways. There are many different ways to do it, and each different way has a different function. Today we're really trying to activate those internal leg muscles. So this is just the way we're doing it today. It doesn't mean that you've been doing it wrong. And you could make this faster if it's feeling really like a lovely smooth transition today. Or you could take it even slower if you just want to find out where are the points in your spine that are a little bit stuck or a little bit sticky at the moment, so that you know, okay, it's my thoracic spine, I want to focus on some thoracic movements. And if that's the case, you can just search my YouTube channel and you'll find a load of videos for thoracic movements. Or you could find a practice for the low back or something for the upper shoulders. So all of these movements just provide information to you about how your body is working or how it might not be working on one given day. And then once you have that information, you can make the choice that's right for your body. So we're just doing one more, coming all the way back up, squeezing on that brick all the way back down, and we're going to take the brick to the side, bring the knees into the chest. And just breathing here, releasing off that low back. You might want to do a little rocking side to side. And then we're going to finish just with a release. So we're going to take our arms out to the sides. We're going to drop our knees to the right and our gaze to the left. Shrug the shoulders away from the ears, and we're going to take 3 big breaths. And then we'll bring our knees and our nose to the center, over to the other side. And then bring everything back to the center. And I'm going to stretch out nice and long, arms up over the head, point the toes, point the fingers. And then the heels of the hands and the heels of the feet, take a big yawn. Left side of the body stretching, right side of the body stretching, everything getting a good stretch. And then arms down by the sides, and we'll just flick into the wrists and the ankles and circle them. Then we'll hug the knees back into the chest. Big inhale and exhale here. Place the feet down onto the floor, roll over onto your side, and slowly transition to sitting, letting the head be the very last thing to arrive on the top of the spine. And stack the head on top of the spine, shoulders sitting back, a little bit of spinal rocking just to ease everything out again. And then we bring our hands together. Thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. I hope that you found that these movements feel good in your body or feel like they could be useful to you. And just remember that you don't have to do them all at once. You could do one while the kettle's boiling, one after you pick up your kids from school, one while you're watching TV at night. You just find ways to slot them into your day so that it's not another thing to add onto your to-do list. They're just movements that you think in the day you find yourself standing, you're like, oh, I'm going to do some hip dips now. Or you find yourself up against a wall, okay, I'm going to do my pelvic tilting, or I'm going to do my heel lift, and just slowly bringing them into your routine just makes a lot of sense. Okay, see you again soon.